All right. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham Ha Rakakodash, double honors unto our apostle elders which rule great millstone wow, and shalom to the hopeful elect of the nation of Israel. May you endure unto the end. Shalom wa abababam. So you got a lot of false prophets, rising up in these last days, and a lot of them being women. And I'm gonna show you that there are prophetess women, but they're not whores. Okay, in the Bible, they weren't women that had many body count. First of all, they were Israelite women, and they didn't have a large body count. Okay, so if you got a woman that is saying that she's a prophetess, but she has all kinds of different men, right, in her history, that's not a prophetess. Okay, a prophetess is a woman that would actually be a righteous woman, being a woman of modesty, and she would have been not having a lot of bodies. All right. Now you have soothsayers, right, which were Israelite women, and they're witches, right? They use their words for witchcraft, whether it's to make you feel good, to seduce you, or whether it's to try to condemn you. All right. But the righteous women of the nation of Israel are prophetess. And the Lord is pouring out his spirit on the Israelites, as it was prophesied in the book of Joel. It was remembered in Acts, right, that the Lord was going to pour out his spirit upon all flesh, and you're going to see your sons and daughters prophesying, right? So you got Israelite women also. It starts with the men, but this point that I'm trying to make is with the Israelite woman, all right? And on the right side, you got Israelite women that are going to repent and be righteous before their Lord, which is really their husband. They're going to get right in that lot of being a servant to their man. But then the wicked on the left-hand side, they're going to be disobedient, all right? They're going to say, I don't need a man, or all this other bullshit that this world puts out. But Miriam, all right, which was the sister to Moses and Aaron, the prophetess, it says the sister of Aaron took a timbrel in her hand, and all the women went out after her with timbrels and with dances. This is when they were being brought out of the land of Egypt, out of bondage. All right. So this is the song of Moses, and Miriam started singing with the women of Israel that were being led out of Egypt by the Lord, and he was using Moses as his man and Aaron. It says, and Miriam answered them, sing ye to Yahweh, for he had triumphed gloriously. The horse and his rider hath he thrown into the sea. So she's glorifying Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai for destroying the Egyptians that pursued the Israelites, right? So she did that which was righteous in that time. But now this same woman, Miriam, the sister of Aaron and Moses, all right, she spoke out of place. And I'm going to show you there's a difference between men and women, all right, in this order that we are returning to, which is righteousness, and it's not our own righteousness. We didn't come up with this. We're reading it out of the ancient texts, right, out of the Holy Scriptures, all right? It says, and Miriam and Aaron spake against Moses because of the Ethiopian woman whom he had married, for he had married an Ethiopian woman. When you go into the book of Josephus, it's in the second book, and Antiquities of the Jews. You could listen to that on YouTube, or you could read it. But it tells you that Moses, he was a general of the Egyptian army, and they were fighting the Ethiopian. And the way he conquered them was he married one of their daughters, And so he was able to will and deal that way through the daughter, right? It says, for he had married an Ethiopian woman, right? That's just a side note. But the point is that Miriam and Aaron were speaking against Moses because he married that Ethiopian woman. And they said, had Yahweh indeed spoken only by Moses? Right? So they're like, is he the only prophet? Had he not spoken also by us? Right? Wasn't Miriam a prophetess? Aaron, the Lord Yahweh said, Aaron, your brother shall be the prophet, thy prophet. It says, and Yahweh heard it. Now the man Moses was very meek above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. So the Lord gave Moses a spirit more willing, because really he's King David. All right, the Bible speaks of reincarnation, which is real. All right, the scriptures is reality. Okay, just in letter, all time from the beginning to the end, everything that happens is in these scriptures. All right, so Moses, he was King David. All right, he came back as King David. And then he passed away, went into the spirit realm, came back as King Masha. All right. It says, above all the men which were upon the face of the earth. And Yahweh spake suddenly unto Moses and unto Aaron and unto Miriam, come out ye three unto the tabernacle of the congregation. And they three came out. And Yahweh came down in the pillar of the cloud out of a chariot, and stood in the door of the tabernacle, and called Aaron and Miriam, and they both came forth. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, Yahweh, will make myself known unto him in a vision, and will speak unto him in a dream. My servant Moses is not so, who is faithful in all mine house. With him will I speak mouth to mouth, even apparently, and not in dark speeches, and the similitude of Yahweh shall be he behold. Right? Because Moses was going to see the heavens and actually come back down, through the spirit and in the flesh, build the tabernacle, right? Which they carried throughout the wilderness, but eventually King David, which was Moses, established the Ark of the Covenant into the land of Jerusalem, which eventually his son, King Solomon, built the temple. All right, so the Lord's saying, hey, this is my guy, all right? This is the guy right here that I'm dealing with right now. Don't fuck with him, you know what I'm saying? So then he's pretty much quoting Aaron and Miriam. It says, wherefore then were ye not afraid to speak against my servant Moses? See? So remember this, for all you scoffers that talk shit or you think evil of us, you're going to have to answer for that. All right? So remember that. And the anger of Yahweh was kindled against them, and he departed. Right? So he was pissed off with Aaron and Miriam. And Aaron, right, he's a prophet of the Lord. But it tells you right here in Job 32:9, great men are not always wise, neither do the aged understand judgment, right? So that was what was going on with Aaron, okay? It says, but it shows you there's a difference between men and women. The Lord does this to Miriam, he don't do it to Aaron, because she was out of order. Even though they were considered both prophets, she was a prophetess and he was a prophet. She was not allowed to speak out against a prophet. It says in Numbers 12 verse 10, and the cloud departed from off the tabernacle, and behold, Miriam became leprous, white as snow. And Aaron looked upon Miriam, and behold, she was leprous. So she was a so-called black woman, all right, because the Israelites are originally so-called black, which is really a lie, because there's no such thing as black, okay, nor white. There's red and darks, different shades of brown. You got dark brown to light brown. You got dark red to light red. All right. The Edomites, the so-called Caucasians, the red devils, all right, they're the descendants of Edom. All right. The Israelites are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians, which have been scattered throughout the world in slavery. All right. You got 18 nations on this earth, and only one is loved by Yahweh through his son Yahweh Shai, which are the Israelites. All right. And originally they were dark, they were so-called black people. All right. Today we're all kinds of different shades of colors because we're mingled amongst the heathen, but our bloodline is pure. We're still Israelites, but not all Israel is of Israel because of their faith. All right. But there's a remnant that are going to be saved. But this generation that was with Moses, the one that wandered for 40 years in the wilderness, they're back today and they're going to be destroyed for their unfaithfulness in the lake of fire. America is going to be turned into a lake of fire. All right. It says, and Aaron said unto Moses, Alas, my Lord, I beseech thee, lay not the sin upon us wherein we have done foolishly and wherein we have sinned. Let her not be as one dead, right? Because if you're pale like a so-called Caucasian, you really look like a dead person, of whom the flesh is half consumed when he cometh out of his mother's womb, like an Edomite, right? When he was born, Esau, he was red and small and weak, like a stillborn. It says, and Moses cried unto Yahweh, saying, Heal her now, O power, I beseech thee. And Yahweh said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face, showed her some fucking respect, she should not be ashamed 7 days. All right? So she thought she was higher than she really was, and he had to humble her. But then he even got mad and said, hey, if her dad would have, fucking humbled her, spit in her freaking face, she wouldn't think herself, her shit don't stink. All right, so it shows you that the way the daughters grow up is according to the father. So, Esau, the so-called Caucasian, he has destroyed these homes, right? They put the woman on welfare, but she can't have no man, but only for one night in the house, so she becomes a whore for a welfare check, right? So those daughters of those women grow up to be monsters, just like the sons. They grow up to be monsters too. A single mom house, it produces monsters. All right, because the father is the one that lays down the correction, the discipline. All right, the mother is the comforter, the father is the disciplinarian. All right, so Esau knows what he's doing when he's destroying these houses. That's why he has hell to pay. All right, the so-called white man, he's going to get destroyed for his wickedness, and he has 1,000 years to pay. In slavery under the Israelites. And it's going to be bad. It's going to be worse than what we suffered because it's payback, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. Fuck him. No mercy for the red devil, the so-called white man. Esau, Edom. Thus saith the Bible, the word of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushua. It says, verse 14, it says, and Yahweh said unto Moses, if her father had but spit in her face. You see that? And you, a Christian, they can't break this down. They'll say, what? That was back then. We're not in those times no more. But we're living biblical days right now. There was never a time that was not biblical. All right? So it says, if her father had but spit in her face, right, slap the shit out of that little bitch, should she not be ashamed 7 days? Right? So then she would be, if you slapped or spit in your daughter's face, she wouldn't talk to you for 7 days, he's pretty much saying. You know what I'm saying? And really, that's what these women need is a violent correction. And that's what Jacob's trouble is going to bring. All right, so Miriam, she was put out of the congregation, she had to live on her own for 7 days. Pretty much, she was living life and death for 7 days. Because a woman, all right, a woman without a man, she's helpless to the environment, whether it's beasts, whether it's weather, whether it's her own emotions, whatever it is, right? A man allows a woman to be able to rest because she has, someone stronger than her, that's going to look out for her. So when she was put out, that was a dreadful time for her. All right, just like if a man was to get real mad with his daughter, right, and spit in her face and slap the shit out of her, right, to correct her. But this is what the Lord is saying. You need to do this to get this woman in order, right? That's what he did to her. He slapped her in her face, shamed her. To look like a so-called white man is a shame, a goddamn shame, right? So it says, and Miriam was shut out from the camp 7 days. So she got kicked out. She had nobody to protect her for 7 days. So she was scared, she was terrified. And the people journeyed not till Miriam was brought in again. See, they couldn't, really, they could have just left her there like, oh, wow, fuck her. And just left her sitting on the side of the road. They show you in the movie, The Book of Eli, that woman, she's sitting by the buggy. And she just left there. And every group of men that use her until they die. And then the next men use her until they die. And eventually they're going to eat women like that. That's what's coming upon these women in Babylon, America. All right? Because they're not even close to Miriam. Remember, these women got bodies. Miriam didn't have bodies. That wasn't even a thing back then, like it is now. Right? Why? Because the woman has been put over the man. She's been given authority in this society, and with her liberty, she does evil. She does wickedness. So there's a great judgment for these women, especially the women that speak against the prophets, because all Miriam did was talk shit about Moses marrying a woman she didn't like. Moses married an Ethiopian woman, and Miriam didn't agree, and the Lord fucked her up. He put hella shame on her. Because a woman don't have the right to tell a man what to do, who to do, where to be, what time to go. A woman is a pillar of comfort for her husband. All right? And that's her place. And if you get out of place, there's going to be a judgment for that. All right? And in this dark time, you don't want to be left alone. You don't want to be outside of the congregation, which literally each of us hopeful elect men are going to produce a congregation, because they're going to have to cleave unto us to survive this Jacob's trouble. See? And that's why it says there's going to be a famine of the word, because the Lord's going to hide us, and then they're going to search for us and not find us and die without us. You see? But the ones that cleave unto us, because we're cleaving unto Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahushua, they're going to live. And that's that Revelation 7, the salvation of the elect, and that great multitude that been gathered out of all the nations, which are Israelites.